Photosynthesis is arguably the most important biological process on the planet. Without the assimilation of carbon dioxide, as well as the production and release of molecular oxygen, life as we know it would be radically different if it existed at all. Photosynthetic organisms, furthermore, serve as primary producers of organic material, which has allowed for the large diversity of multicellular organisms that is seen today. This is a figure widely used in general biology textbooks. On the top half, it shows that photosynthesis occurs in organelles called chloroplasts. Through harnessing the energy in sunlight, chloroplasts are able to produce sugars and oxygen from carbon dioxide and water. Sugars that are produced in photosynthesis have multiple functions in plants. The focus of this video is sugars that are consumed in cellular respiration. However, it is important to know that sugars are also used for growth and development. In fact, the products of photosynthesis are responsible for the growth of a tiny seedling into a mature tree. Aerobic cellular respiration is a process that undoubtedly arose as a result of the increasing abundance of the products of photosynthesis. In multicellular organisms, aerobic cellular respiration is an essential cellular process in all living cells. As shown, this process occurs in organelles called mitochondria and utilizes the energy of sugars to produce ATP, a molecule that is constantly needed for various cellular processes. In plants, every molecule of sugar that is consumed in cellular respiration was produced in photosynthesis. In plants that contain both chloroplasts and mitochondria, this is no problem. However, because light energy is needed for photosynthesis to occur, and because photosynthesis is needed to fuel cellular respiration in plants, what should happen when light is no longer available? In a natural environment, plants are exposed to light at astounding levels during the day. However, plants also experience multiple hours in the dark every night. During this time, photosynthesis no longer occurs, but its products are still needed to maintain living cells. Every night, plants are faced with this problem, which should almost certainly result in death. However, come morning time, the vast majority of plants survive to live another day. Given our knowledge of the relationship between photosynthesis and respiration in plants, one should ask, how do plants survive at night? The cell theory states that all living organisms are comprised of cells. Plant and animal cells are both classified as eukaryotic cells. The differentiation of animal cells can result in differences between species, such as the difference between Einstein and a slug, as well as within one organism, resulting in different anatomical structures, such as the difference between Einstein's eyes and nose. Plant cells can also differentiate, giving rise to different species and different tissues in individual organisms. Just as they do in humans, the cells in one place may be drastically different than cells elsewhere. All living cells in plants contain mitochondria. However, the vast majority of cells in plants do not have chloroplasts. This further compounds our original problem. Plants, such as this oak tree, have 4 distinct organs with 4 distinct functions: leaves, reproductive organs, stems, and roots. In most plants, leaves are the only organs that have chloroplast-containing photosynthetic cells. This is responsible for their vibrant green color. Reproductive organs are responsible for productions of seeds and fruits. When seeds begin to germinate into plants, they are non-photosynthetic. Because of this, these structures need to be very high in nutrients and sugars to allow the seedling to develop before becoming self-sufficient through photosynthesis of its own. Stems are responsible for the transport of water, sugar, and nutrients throughout a plant body. In this oak tree, the stems are entirely non-photosynthetic. Roots are usually underground and responsible for the uptake of water and nutrients from the soil. Roots are rarely ever exposed to light and therefore are primarily non-photosynthetic. To review, leaves are the only organ that are capable of producing sugars through photosynthesis. However, because all organs of the plant need sugar to stay alive, Leaves must therefore supply the products of photosynthesis to the other organs. Leaves are therefore known as sources of photosynthesis, responsible for the production of sugars, while others are known as sinks, where sugars are used for aerobic respiration, as well as growth and development. So now that we know how non-photosynthetic cells get the sugars they need to survive, we can return to our original question. That is, how do plants survive at night? We know that source leaves export sugars to non-photosynthetic sinks during the day, but what happens during the night when leaves are no longer capable of producing sugars? It turns out that during the day, the products of photosynthesis have two fates. They can either be exported from the chloroplast for use, or stored in the chloroplast to be used later. What is remarkable is that leaves export sugars at a constant rate from day to night. Although the mechanisms are not exactly known, leaves are exquisitely designed to store sugars in the chloroplast during the day in such quantities so that almost all of it is in turn exported during the night hours. This means that aside from leaves, the majority of the plant body maintains remarkably similar function between day and night. To recap, not all sugars produced in photosynthesis are used for cellular respiration. Not all cells in plants have chloroplasts, meaning that they must import sugars from cells that are capable of producing sugars. Most importantly, we learn that plants survive through the night by storing sugars during the day when light is abundant. This allows for leaves to export sugars at a constant rate between day and night. Although the nights pose a great challenge to plants, we now know that the solution lies in the leaves. With this in mind, there's a fairly obvious next challenge that should be addressed, which I will now leave you with. How do deciduous plants that drop their leaves survive for months on end during the winter?